Ladies and gentlemen, Clay Immunity, welcome. Tap in. If you're watching this video, then that means you have just witnessed the Brooklyn Nets fall to the Boston Celtics. Yes, they fell to them in a 4-game series, best out of 7, but they ended up getting swept. Pull the brooms out, ladies and gentlemen. In case you guys don't know, let me take you back a little bit down memory lane. 2019-2020 is when the Brooklyn Nets acquired Kevin Durant, who was moving on from the Golden State Warriors. That year, he didn't end up playing at all because he suffered an Achilles injury, and that Brooklyn Nets team ended up losing in the first round of the playoffs. Then going into his second year, he did end up playing. That was his 2020-2021 season. 2020-2021, Kevin Durant finally gets a chance to suit up, get into the postseason, face off against the Milwaukee Bucks in round 2 of the Eastern Conference semifinals, and fall to the Bucks by this much. Yep, that's how much they lost by, because that's literally the size of his shoe, that if he wore a smaller shoe size, they would have moved on to the Eastern Conference Finals. But nevertheless, now we move into year number 3, which is what you all just witnessed right here. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving on the same team. James Harden is now traded to the Philadelphia 76ers, where the Nets have got the recently acquired Ben Simmons, who did not play at all this series. Not only this series, but he didn't even play this season. So it was mainly Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving that were facing off against the Boston Celtics in round 1, the number 2 seeded Eastern Conference team. So the Brooklyn Nets are now fallen. They are trying to figure out how to pick up the pieces, and now I'm stepping in to see if I can help them out. I think they have the potential to be an NBA championship contender this season, and so I'm going to try my best to rebuild them as quickly as possible. But let's not waste any more time. Let's jump straight on into it. All right, so taking a look at the roster, you can see just off the rip, you see Kevin Durant. He is on a $236 million contract for a 5-year span. Kyrie Irving, Ben Simmons is obviously a guy that we have had loads of issues with across the NBA, specifically with Philly. I don't want that as a problem on my team. Goal that I'm going to attempt to do is I'm going to try to see if I can build around Kevin Durant by himself. But I'm going to give him the right pieces to work with. All right, just off the rip, I'm going to look to see if we can move both Kyrie Irving and LaMarcus Aldridge and get in place instead Brandon Ingram, the young and upcoming talent coming out of New Orleans. I'm going to give Kyrie your way. Y'all can deal with Kyrie Irving, bro. But give me Jonas Valanciunas on top of that. I think we can make this work with the salary cap. Let's go ahead and see if we can pull this trade away. And we got it. Let's go. All right, my next offer, I need to get a shooting guard, or at least somebody that's going to be my scoring guard off of the bench. And I really like this Jordan Poole kid, especially what we saw from him in the playoffs as he's matched up against the Denver Nuggets. So I'm going to try to see if I can pull off an Otto Porter Jr. Jordan Poole trade for Andre Drummond, Blake Griffin, and a 2026 second-round draft pick. Let's see if the Golden State Warriors will go ahead and jump onto this trade, and they will do such. And I'm going to send Ben Simmons, guy who quit on us this season, over to Oklahoma City. I want to see if I can get Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. But I'm going to offboard Ben Simmons and another massive contract in Joe Harris and send them all the way over to Oklahoma City. I think this is going to hopefully help round out the rest of the scoring we need for our offense. And I think this is exactly what Kevin Durant needs to win a title. Let's see if we can pull this off, man. And the Thunder will take it. All right. I need to get some bench scoring, so I'm going to try to see if I can pull off a trade for a piece that San Antonio very clearly does not want on their team. All the while, I want you to notice, we used to be almost $50 million in the salary cap. If you notice that right beside the Brooklyn Nets, we are now at the $2 to $3 million in the whole salary cap. So I've not only taken us out of being in all kinds of debt when it comes to the luxury tax, but I've also brought us some good talent to our team. And I think Keldon will be a good option off the bench. And I'm going to trade Keldon Johnson. I'm also going to add in Keita Bates-Diop. And I'm going to trade away 2 of our shooting guards to be both Seth Curry, who's going to be on the decline next season anyways, and Cameron Thomas, along with a 2025 second overall pick from the Miami Heat. I'm going to see if this works. And we got it. Let's go. All right, so this is what we're going to end up having to start off our season. So we're going to start with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at the point. We got Jordan Poole that's going to play our 2 guard. I got Brandon Ingram at the 3. I got Kevin Durant at the power forward spot, rounding that off with Jonas Valanciunas as our big man. All of these guys can stretch. They're all bucket getters. Jonas and KD and Brandon Ingram are all going to be a problem when it comes to scoring and also taking care of the interior side of the defense. Coming off the bench, you got Keldon Johnson, Nick Claxton, Bruce Brown, and Otto Porter Jr. But I'm going to look to see if I can make some moves towards the tail end of this, at least the first half of the season before we get to the trade deadline. I want to see if we can move around a couple more pieces to bolster up this bench. Let's not waste any time, though. Let's jump right into the regular season. I am not happy with this team, bro. I'm just not happy with them. Player stats. KD still doing what he been doing. 20, 18, Jordan Poole, 15, Keldon Johnson, Jonas. Let me make some moves, dog. This is embarrassing. I'm about to pull off the most nuttiest trade ever. I'm about to trade Kevin Durant away from the Nets for Jayson Tatum. I'm banking for the now with the roster I got, but in the future with Jayson Tatum. I have to make this deal. And if you don't know why, here's why. Because at the moment, Kevin Durant on a $44 million contract per year is giving me 20 points per game, 5 boards or assists. That's it. On 44 mil, KD, I'm gonna say something that maybe a lot of your organizations didn't say to your face, and I'll say it right to you, my boy. Maybe you're the problem. And see if this young buck, Jayson Tatum, that puts you in a box, can do what you couldn't do with this Nets team. Y'all, we made the trade. Okay. All right, okay. Hold on. Stay with me. That's what this gives us right here. This gives us a starting lineup. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jayson Tatum, Brandon Ingram, Al Horford, Jonas Valanciunas. Off the bench, Jordan Poole, Keldon Johnson, Otto Porter Jr., and Nick Claxton. All right, so for my final move, I think I'm going to end up trying to see if I can trade away Jonas Valanciunas, and I'm going to pick up one more piece that I think my team needs. I got Derek White in another rebuild that I ended up doing, but I like him a lot. I want to see if we can bring him onto our team as a backup bench player that can help kind of fill the stats up where we need him to. So I'm going to try to see if I can pick up 2 more players from the Celtics. Robert Williams, who's going to end up being my starting center, and then Derek White, who's going to come off of the bench for Jonas Valanciunas, Otto Porter, and a 2023 second-round draft pick. Let's see if they'll take it. And the Boston Celtics agree. We'll move on. All right, let's jump back into the regular season and see if this will fix some of the issues we've been having as a unit. Let's go ahead and continue simming through it. And that gets us into our first team, all NBA teams, which I don't think we have anybody on that list. On the first, on the second, but we do have Jayson Tatum on the third. We ended up getting at least one guy on there. All right, so let's get an opportunity to see where we are when it comes to the playoffs. It's not looking very good. So as you can see, we are an 8th seed. So we're coming into the play-in tournament where we'll face off against Toronto. Whoever ends up winning this will either play the Milwaukee Bucks or the Atlanta Hawks on the bottom side of that bracket. On the other side, you got the Lakers that are in the play-in with the Kings, Utah versus Minnesota, Golden State with the number 1 seed, and Memphis with the number 2 seed. This is the first time I have somebody doing the play-in tournament, so let's see what this looks like. I got Brooklyn playing up against the Toronto Raptors. Let's see what this first game looks like between these two. It's a do-or-die series, and it looks like Brooklyn will win the game against the Raptors. Let's see what this looks like. Brooklyn moves on. You got Jordan Poole with 24.7 boards and 6 assists. Jayson Tatum with a 23 and 12 night. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander also with 22. Brandon Ingram with 17. And you had Robert Williams with a 13 and 6. He didn't get very many boards. That's odd to me. Jayson Tatum had more rebounds than my center did, which is not a very good look, but that's a whole nother conversation for another day. But nevertheless, you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different players from the Nets all go for double figures. On the other side, you had Pascal Siakam and Fred VanVleet were the only 2 guys that went off. We did just enough to get the dub, along with what is appearing to be a 40-point fourth quarter to get us the victory against this squad. We'll move on to the next round. So we'll move on to the next round, which actually means we'll be facing off against the Atlanta Hawks in round number 1 of this playoffs. All right, before we get into this matchup, I do want to point something out. Check this out. It looks like the Atlanta Hawks made a mid-season trade to where they got Paul George to team up with Trae Young. They traded Clint Capella away, which means they got their backup big with John Collins and DeAndre Hunter. But this combo right here, this is going to be deadly. We got to make sure we play them well. All right, let's go ahead and see what we got in round number 1 between the Nets and the Hawks. We're going to go ahead and simulate game 1. Brooklyn will take game 1. Brooklyn will take game 2. Hawks will take game 3. Brooklyn will take game 4. Hawks will take game 5. And Brooklyn will take game 6. They'll move on to the next round. Off the rip, you got Jayson Tatum with 28 and 6 assists. Jordan Poole with 16 points. Brandon Ingram with a 15-point game. But check this out. Even scoring across the board. Tatum, Poole, Ingram, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Robert Williams, Keldon Johnson, Al Horford, all having double-digit point totals this game. Not one of them went off, but any of them have the possibility of going off in any one of these games. On the other side, Trae Young had a slow night along with Paul George. Trae Young struggled. He went 6 for 15 from the field, 1 for 6 from the three-point line. And their best scorer for the night was John Collins. Only 4 Hawks players in double figures, and that's what we needed in order to move on. 6 games, the Nets will move on, where they will face off against the Boston Celtics. We are going up against Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Bruce Brown, Kevin Durant, Jonas Valanciunas. Y'all, this is sweet irony. We traded a lot of our players to this Boston Celtics team, and they ended up being the 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. Well, now we're about to go head-to-head against these 2 squads, and it's about to be a banger. All right, let's get into it, man. Boston versus the Nets going up in their matchup in round number 2, the Eastern Conference semifinals. Let's go through game number 1, see who we got. Boston will win game 1. Brooklyn wins game 2. What happened there? I want to know what happened there. Jaylen Brown with 32, Kevin Durant with 20, and Otto Porter Jr. with 12. Nobody else really in double figures. On the other side, oh man, we struggled as a team. We only beat them by 1 point. Jordan Poole at 18, shai gilgeous-alexander 15. Nobody else really scored. This is a good defensive team we're going up against, man. And Brandon Ingram struggled from the field. 2 for 9, man. That's just not a good look. But it's a lot of young blood we got there, bro. We got to get it figured out, man. All right, game number 3 goes to the Brooklyn Nets. Game number 4 goes to the Brooklyn Nets. Game number 5 goes to the Boston Celtics. Game number 6. Oh my gosh, we're going to game 7. Dog, what happened this game? Brandon Ingram, Jayson Tatum, Al Horford, they all scored well. Oh, but Kevin Durant, Jaylen Brown, Jonas Valanciunas, they all went off that matchup, man. We gotta slow them down in this next one. Game number 7, man. Here it is. These 2 teams going at it. Let's see what we got. See if we need to jump into this one. And it's not even close. The Brooklyn Nets will move on to the Eastern Conference Finals. Let's look at that box score real quick. Jaylen Brown with 32, Kevin Durant with 22, Jonas Valanciunas with 16 and 14, and Bruce Brown with 12 points. But on the other side, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with 33 points, Brandon Ingram with 29, Jayson Tatum with 23. Y'all, the guys that we needed to step up performed in this matchup, combining for 20 made 3-point shots as a team. That's exactly what we needed in the performance we needed to move on to the Eastern Conference. All right, so let's check out the Western Conference real quick. Golden State won in 6 games against Utah, and they played the Los Angeles Clippers in the next round. Clippers swept the Mavs, but it ends up looking like the Clippers will beat the Golden State Warriors in a 7-game series. The New Orleans Pelicans on the bottom side of that bracket get swept by the Minnesota Timberwolves. They win their 7-game series against the Memphis Grizzlies 2 in round number 1, and that means Memphis and the Clippers will line up against one another. All right, man, here we are. Philadelphia versus Brooklyn. Eastern Conference Finals. Let's see what we got. Game number 1 goes to the Brooklyn Nets. Game number 2 to Philadelphia. Game number 3 to Brooklyn. Game number 5 to Philly. Back and forth, man. Brooklyn takes game number 6, and Brooklyn advances to the NBA Finals. And Brooklyn will play the Los Angeles Clippers in the NBA Finals. Check out who we're playing against. We're going up against Terrence Mann, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Kawhi Leonard, Marcus Morris, and yes, Clint Capella was traded from the Atlanta Hawks to the Clippers. So really, it's only Clint and Kawhi that we got to worry about. All right, here we are matched up in the NBA Finals against the Los Angeles Clippers. Can we slow down Kawhi Leonard in this matchup? We're going to be jumping into a few of the games because I do want to get a chance to see what this looks like. We're going to go through game number 1. Brooklyn wins game 1. Brooklyn wins games 2. Brooklyn wins game 3. Are we about to sweep the finals? It does not look like we're sweeping in the NBA Finals. Looks like the Clippers will pull out game number 4. Look what happened in this game, man. Shai went for 24. Oh, we could not score, man. Wow, we shot terribly. 3 for 31 from the 3-point line. And on the other side, Bogdanovic went for 22. Kawhi Leonard actually didn't kill us that much. He only had 7 points, which that means Jayson Tatum's locking him up pretty well, man. Clint Capella had 19 and 17. Norman Powell had 18 off the bench. Zubac had 15 off the bench. I'm not mad. If that's the way that they win the game, they're not going to win the series that way. If that's the way they won the game, I'm fine with that. Let's get into game number 5, though. I do want to see what this looks like. All right, here we are in game number 5. Right now, the Clippers are down in this series to the Brooklyn Nets 3-1, but they got to get some points on the board. They'll get actually to Robert Williams, who will do the emphatic 2-handed slam and the bucket that'll put him on the line, closing the lead now to an 8-point deficit. Bogdanovic off the screen and roll, gets to the bucket. He will miss that. Clint Capella with the board, with the putback and the foul. Brandon Ingram with his 4th personal foul. And Capella on the line will make the free throw and now make it an 11-point ball game. Almost gets the 3-second call. Kawhi is having none of it. He's locking all of it up. Jordan Poole with the basketball, with the step back. It's late, but he makes the shot. That's a 9-point game. At the top of the key, that's Mann. Terrence Mann working on Jayson Tatum has nothing. Back to Kawhi. 4 seconds on the shot clock. The defense of this Nets team has been tenacious, but it matters not because Kawhi Leonard with the mid-range dagger pushes it back to 11 points. Gets it out to Morris Sr. Wow, they got the PG on the big. Clint Capella with the weird look. That's a three-point shot. He had to just force that one up. Tatum going the other way. They need offense, and they need it now. Tatum to the bucket will finish that. Heavily contested, but it matters not. Gilgeous-Alexander on the screen and roll game has nothing going for him. Will try to get to the bucket, and will get the contact and the foul. 53 seconds left to go. Kawhi at the top of the key, eating as much clock as he can, and he will try to dunk that, but that is blocked by Robert Williams. Ball going the other direction. Get it up the court. In the corner. Jordan Poole missed it. That's over. That's GG's. They're not winning this game. Looks like they will end up winning this game, closing this series now to a 3-2 deficit. Y'all, here we are, game 6. It is a 3-point game. The Nets have to score here with 1 minute left on the clock. Jayson Tatum with the emphatic slam. Baptizes Zubac in the paint, making it now a 1-point game. What a play by Jayson Tatum, man. Jayson Tatum one-on-one with Kawhi Leonard. Off the screen and roll, that's going to be a fadeaway mid-range. That's off. That's going back to Brooklyn. That'll go to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's going to work that screen and roll game. Over, out to the side. Al Horford with the three-point shot dagger. Puts them up by 2. Here we are with 20 seconds left to go in this ball game. They need a 2 to tie, a 3 to win. Kawhi Leonard going to the paint with the step back, and he will miss. That's going to be a foul. That now puts Brooklyn on the line. I don't think I can overstate how crucial these 2 free throws are right here. Jordan Poole on the free throw line. He'll shoot the first, and he will make it. That's now a 3-point lead. And he does just that. Jordan Poole now moving into a 4-point game with 11 seconds left on this clock. Ball up the court. Oh my gosh, he almost missed that. He almost made it. They're gonna have to foul again and put Brooklyn on the line. Y'all, I think that they're getting the banners going. The confetti is getting ready to fall from the sky, and everybody in Brooklyn knows what this means. Your Brooklyn Nets that were in the play-in tournament ended up coming through and winning all to the NBA championship. They took this squad, blew up everything they had. They got all of these new pieces. They got the right bench that they needed, and you have some of these absolute studs on the team after giving up on Kyrie Irving, on Kevin Durant, on Ben Simmons. The Brooklyn Nets will be crowned NBA champions. Did y'all enjoy this rebuild? Did y'all have fun with this, man? I hope this was good. It was exciting for me. I had a lot of fun getting a chance to kind of work through this and figure out a way to fix them. Could not be more proud of how they played. Y'all, if you did enjoy this, do your boy a massive favor. If you're here and you're new, let me know you're new in the comments below. If you've been here before, y'all know what we do. Type Noti Gang in the comments below. And if you do, you get an opportunity to be featured in our next video that we have that will be posted. If you wouldn't mind, please drop a like because it helps the video out. Drop a sub, drop a comment if you're new. Tell people where you're from, who's your favorite team. And if y'all got any other ideas for rebuilds or any other challenges like that, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you guys, man. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I appreciate y'all for coming through. I hope to see you on this next one. Y'all take it easy, man. Peace.